All right, welcome back to Sports Monsters, and I'm here once again with my co-host Matt. And today we have a special guest. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Sure, I'll do the call real quick
Oh,
first.
okay.
Today, joining us we have, as I call her, Meatball Donna Briggs, who works with me. And let me tell you guys something, Tyler, without a word of a lie. I have played basketball in the Philadelphia area for a long time. You know, played in colleges like Rowan, Drexel, Penn. Played not for their teams, just pick up games in their gyms. Played in the streets of Philadelphia and Northeast Philly. Played in the Hoop It Up tournaments down in South Philly, and been knocked around a lot. I'd like to tell you I played one game with Briggs. I'd like to tell you that, but it only took one play for her to end my basketball career. So when I said she knows basketball, and is one of the toughest people I know, it is the God's honest truth, right? Right?
Yes. We're not going to say what play it was, but yeah, it took one play.
One play. My career was officially done. But in all seriousness, Donna here knows a lot about basketball. She coaches and runs several basketball leagues over in South Jersey, and is one of my best friends and one of the strongest people I know. So it's a pleasure for me to have her on here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Now, full disclosure, I'm not the biggest basketball guy. I've only been keeping up for Sports Monsters, but I have had a massive interest. I think what really piqued my interest was the Luka Doncic trade, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. Mostly because of how ridiculously bad it was, and then the Magic decided to go, hold my beer.
Yes.
The Orlando Magic decided to look at the Luka Doncic trade and see how well that went, and went, no, we can do something exceptionally more fucking stupid.
Yes.
5 first-round picks for Desmond Baines. I don't see why that makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah, 5 first, 2 players for an injury-prone point thief who has literally just been carried by the rest of the Grizzlies, and that is not saying much.
Hell, you could put my name in place of Desmond Baines and make that same trade.
Yeah. I get it. Durant. If you gave me 5 firsts for Kevin Durant, or fucking from the Rockets. Oh god, he was Durant. Yeah. Yeah. If they traded with the Rockets for Durant, or 5 firsts to take back Doncic, or even 5 firsts and 3 players for Jokic, I'd have been cool. Bet the farm on it. But it's gonna work out. Desmond Bane.
Yeah. Kind of mediocre, which might be a nice lead-in to talk about the finals this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about the NBA finals. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Magic fan, in case you didn't notice,
I see.
Yeah, the Orlando Magic were doing so good, and in typical Florida fucking tipality of sports, they decide, let's do something ridiculously stupid, because this state has the ability to just make you go fucking dumb. Anyway, yeah. So, the NBA Pacers versus almost like Colorado, Jesus. Oklahoma Thunder. On one hand, it's really nice to see a game that was so even matched for the most part. Go blow for blow. It was 7 games, and it was nice to see 2 small market teams win. And it was especially nice to see ESPN eat shit.
Yes.
First off, Stephen A. Smith can get fucked. I've been dying to talk about this. That man was playing solitaire in the middle of the finals.
I know.
He is him and Skip Bayless are the core of everything wrong with sports newscasts these days.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
So my perspective on this finals was, and I was just sitting here looking up the viewer ratings for it, NBA highlights. They're not even a household name. You know what I'm saying? So in a way, it was good to have a different team, other than the LeBrons, the Steph Currys, any of that. It was nice to see new faces, young up and coming, but I just don't think they were on the same caliber as the previous, NBA MVPs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
To that, I would argue that, like, I think that's for the best. I think honestly, if you if you want this franchise, or franchises, I should say, to grow, you really do need, this kind of exposure. You do need, and I also think, just because this team doesn't have anyone, I mean, the Pacers are the Halliburton, but on the other side, does that mean these two teams didn't have anyone because they're not marketable, or is it because both teams are that fucking good that they don't need a single MVP?
Right. Good point.
I think, look at that. Let's talk about the roster of OKC. That whole thing was built from the ground up.
Yes.
Through excessive trades and things like that, and there wasn't any look at. There were some free agents on there, but there was no landmark player that you could point to go, that was the reason why they won the game. No, it was a actual team effort. That's what one thing I think NBA is kind of died for me, as I think also why it's died with a lot of sports fans is and the baseball has the same problem too, and Matt can agree with this on what I'm about to say. The NBA along with the MLB have done nothing but consistently crush small markets. They did nothing to market this championship. And on top of that, they will do everything in their power to stamp out any kind of a progression that a small market will have. I mean, look at you want to say that the thing isn't rigged? Go look at the Mavericks draft and tell them otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right. This team was put together. I guess this was the epitome of good basketball teamwork idea of it, because no one really stands out. They're all of them are even kill. What I didn't like, and I'll go with the program. I was going to go through each game, but yeah, I just think that it was evenly matched. I could honestly say that it was evenly matched, with not one person standing out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was going to wonder. It's interesting. For a lot of the things you two have mentioned, I think. For one, I did appreciate two teams that you didn't see would make it there. I've been complaining, and Briggs will tell you all year, that I get pissed off watching the NBA because there's no defense, and this was a very defensive-oriented series. That being said, Briggs, I think you're correct. It wasn't the defense, though, that made some of the plays so sloppy. It was just sloppy play.
Sloppy, yeah.
Yeah.
And not typical of your NBA games. You know what I mean? There's a couple of turnovers here and there, but this was ongoing turnovers each game, all game through. You had a backcourt violation. You know what I mean? It was just weird turnovers. It was sloppy play. Let me just say that. It was sloppy play.
Yeah, which definitely took away from it. And I think you both hit the nail on the head in that the NBA has not done a good job of marketing players that they haven't deemed to be superstars, or teams that they've deemed to be superstars, right? So this wasn't a Boston, LA, New York, no LeBron, no Kevin Durant, no Steph Curry.
Yeah.
You can say, ironically, SGA is only the fourth player to get the sweep of Finals MVP, scoring title, and win a championship. I mean, he's up there with Kareem, Shaq, and Michael. So that's pretty good company. Yeah. But not promoted at all, because he's in Oklahoma City, most likely, I would say. And the viewership was terrible. This viewership, I think when I looked at it yesterday, and Briggs, we have it up, something like 9 million, whereas the WNBA championship was something that's 21 million.
Right, yeah.
Which I will say I did like. I did like to see that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad the WNBA is coming up some, because they got some pretty solid. You talk about good, non-sloppy basketball.
Yeah.
I'll give you that for sure. But I think those were times ahead with this. Also, sucks to see Tyrese Halliburton go down and be out most of next year too.
Yeah.
I know, that was sad to see. Yeah, that was sad to see. But keep in mind, remember I want to say, where am I? What game is this? Game 5? No, game 4. Well, the fourth quarter, he didn't score. I mean, like, I don't look at Halliburton as like a top scorer. One game, he didn't score until the third quarter, and I think that was a free throw. You know what I mean? But his presence alone, I guess, helped. But yeah, he wasn't a key component. I think Siakam stepped up, and Siakam being there before helped. You know what I mean? Yeah, but it was a shame just to see Halliburton, him go down like that, you know?
You're correct, but I have the same notes about Game 4. I'm looking at him right now. That you can't have your star player not score until the fourth quarter. For goodness sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah. I think again, like, I don't know if that says anything about Halliburton himself, or does that say anything about the defense that Oklahoma had?
Mm-hmm.
And it really sucks that the viewership was really low. But again, it goes back to the NBA just wanting to cuck these small markets, and they were just throwing a hissy fit that, you know, neither Boston or, you know, the Lakers could get in. I will also say that, like, and Matt, we talked about this just before the video, is that the West is probably just going to run over anyone in the Eastern Conference now for like for next season.
Yeah, Briggs, what do you think? Like, Boston, I think, could have been a contender, but if they're out Tatum, just like the Pacers are out Halliburton, that means he's really in trouble.
Well, you know I'm going with Boston all day, every day, so it helps. Yeah, it does help. It's a shame Halliburton, because they can't continue their run. They were so close. I would have loved to see them go at it again next year. But yeah, Boston's going to come back with a vengeance. Yeah.
And pigs fly.
They did trade Porzingis, so I don't know. I like Porzingis. I saw that today.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No. And you said
they traded Porzingis.
Oh, man. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. Is Oklahoma like primed to be like dynasty, or at least like repeat at the bare minimum? Not three-peat, just back to back. Because I feel like they've got enough pieces on defense alone to just suffocate most of the West.
That's a tough one, and I don't know if I'm biased, because I guess I'm not a big OKC fan. Hartenstein, he still has some more in him. Caruso, I love. He's a hustler. I don't see that being a problem. You know what I mean? I think I can see them coming back again. It just baffles my mind how they're there. I'm not used to, teams without major players, but this is the epitome of basketball. It is a team sport, and I think they've proven that you don't need a high profile player to get things done.
Yeah.
But I think if their team the way it is, like I said, Hartenstein, Caruso, he's always been a go-getter. You know, I love Caruso's energy and stuff like that. Hartenstein, he's hard to get in the paint with him. I don't see them falling from this. I think they can maintain. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I would think so. It is. We all keep saying it's hard to think of a team with the MVP not having like a star player, and I think that I'll get back to why I think that's the case in a second. But I think that they come back. They can definitely come back. I mean, it would depend. We got the draft tonight. We'll see which other trades go down. If Giannis goes somewhere else, it could change the opinion. Yeah. But this team reminds me, Tyler, you might be a bit too young for this, but you might not be. Briggs, you would remember like that Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Pistons.
That was Detroit Pistons.
Yeah. They had like that lockdown D.
Yes.
And they could win low-scoring games. I think they went to 2 back-to-back, and they won one of them.
Yeah.
This team reminds me. This Oklahoma City team reminds me of that team where they can do lockdown defense. SGA is a superstar, but he's not really like what we think of in terms of a superstar. So I think that they could be back for sure. Kevin Durant going to Houston is interesting, but he's also got to be 40 by now. I mean, certainly up there. We will see. You can never count out Denver and Joker. Like Joker can dominate for sure.
Yes.
So that's a possibility. My question to both of you two is, I don't think during the season either one of these two teams had the opportunity to play a lot on national TV, which is why one reason there wasn't a lot of hype. As we know, they favor the big cities. Do you think that changes when these two teams make it to the finals so that we get to know?
Oh, definitely. I think they're going to showcase them. They for ratings, for everything, they need to start showcasing them. They weren't getting to play because they were small organizations, but I think now that's really going to step it up. We're going to see more of them, I think.
I am going to respectfully disagree on that.
Let's hear why.
I think again, it goes back to ratings. Like we said with the ratings, is that the ratings were so abysmal for these finals, and also again, it goes back to the NBA. At the end of the day, will consistently fuck over these small markets, and they will just. I think they'll just spite them. I think they will legit spite OKC and the Pacers. I would love nothing more than to have more small of these more equal viewing rights. But between these deals with ESPN and all these sports networks and because they're going to look at the numbers and say, oh, these teams aren't worth it because they got to the finals and they barely got watched. So I think they're just going to fuck them over again, just to, if anything else, just to spite them.
Well, I think the problem is the NBA hasn't done a good job of promoting newer stars. Now, some of it is that projected newer stars have fallen off, like what's his face in New Orleans.
The big one.
Zion, thank you. Yeah. But smaller markets can, if they get the right star there, be marketable. For instance, San Antonio is a relatively small market compared to New York, Boston, LA, Chicago. But when they had that Tim Duncan down there, they would always get national games because they were a good team. They knew that he was a promotable guy. I do think that SGA is fairly promotable. Tyrese Halliburton, they're not doing stuff like our boy John Moran, right? Breaks
popping up sunshine, gang time, whatever. Yeah, they're good, genuinely good people. You know what I mean? They're good guys. So.
I think the NBA has to pivot a little bit, Tyler, because it does not look like Luka's going to be able to carry LA. I do agree with you, Briggs. I think Boston will still be a strong team. Chicago's in the crapper. The Sixers are a mess. What other big markets do we have?
I would say,
what's his name?
Yeah. Let me throw this out. What do you guys think of Houston as a contender next year? Because I feel like after seeing them this playoff season, I think they actually have a legit shot to be a bigger threat next year.
Are you saying that because of their newly acquired player, or are you saying that?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying from last year alone, and now they've added. They've kind of added to the roster. I'm saying from this year, they kind of really impressed me. I will also say that again, I think the one team to at least beat next year, at least on the West, is the Thunder, because I think the Thunder just have they haven't really, as far as I know, they haven't lost anyone on free agency yet, or about to. I think their cap situation's fine. Last I checked.
So I figured they got Dylan Brooks, Van Lee.
Yeah, they don't like. That's the thing. Like, they don't have like any of those. I think that works in their favor of not having those all-star players because like they don't need to negotiate big. Now that could change after this playoff win because there's always a playoff tax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about Houston, though, Briggs? I'll let you go first.
With Houston, I actually like Houston. I mean, I'm not up on the recent trades per se, but I always like Vanley, and Dylan Brooks. As much as I hate Dylan Brooks, I can't stand Dylan Brooks, but he's a go-getter. Like, he's a hustler. You know what I mean? So I can see Houston being up there with them. I think they have a good chance.
I would contend, though, I don't know how much Kevin Durant adds to them, which I know was odd to say, but when's the last time Kevin Durant was a force in the playoffs?
Yeah.
I know.
It's like saying, like, James Harden and it's still good, or is he just...
Exactly.
Like, I'm just going to say it, and I don't care who the fuck whines about it. James Harden's the Dak Prescott of basketball.
Wow.
It's the same thing of, like, who did I compare to the Dak Prescott of hockey, Matt?
Oh, Cooper, guy just lost 5 in a row. 5 something.
Yeah, Perry.
Perry, thank you.
No, it wasn't Perry. He was on the Leafs.
Oh, Marner?
Yeah, Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch Marner's the Dak Prescott of hockey. At least, Perry gets you to the championship.
Yeah, Marner's first one and done. That's James Harden. But to get back to Houston, I don't think they'll be a good team. I don't know that they'll beat Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City also has a ton of assets based on good trades. Like next year, I believe they have the Sixers first round pick. They just missed out on it this year because it was top 6 protected. I think it's unprotected next year. The Sixers could completely crap the bed and end up giving Oklahoma City the #1 overall pick next year, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that's the process, everyone. Like, yeah, that's the process. You got to trust it, man.
Man, I have given up on that process. Briggs will tell you, around here, like, the only process we trust is Howie Roseman, right, Briggs?
Yeah, the process is, making other teams better. That's the process you got to trust. It's just making every other team consistently better. Isn't that right, Philadelphia Flyers?
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't know what state Paul George is going to be in. Embiid. I mean, luckily, Maxey, Oubre, we know we could count on them, but Lowry, he's getting older. I mean, like, come on.
No, that pick could very well be a really high pick that goes right to an already very good team in Oklahoma City. And we know they can draft well. It's not like they're the Sixers want to screw it up. They'll draft well. And they have some other teams first round pick too.
And actually, like, I want to throw this at you guys. It blows my mind that the owner of the 76ers is the same owner as the Washington Commanders, and somehow they have lucked out on everything with the Commanders.
Yeah.
Isn't that some shit?
He's also the owner of the New Jersey Devils, which just pisses me off too.
Really?
Yeah.
I learned something new.
There you go. It just pisses me off, I'll be honest. Every team he owns, he has a rival team in another sports divisional rivals.
Right.
But yeah, so Houston, I'm not sold on. I think OKC could definitely be back there next year.
Yeah. I can't trust the Magic anymore.
The East is wide open. What do you think of the East? The Knicks squeeze by next year?
I don't like the Knicks.
The Knicks are like the Cowboys in general. Like,
yes, good one, yeah.
The Knicks are literally like they can ball out. It's the same thing with the Toronto Leafs. No, the Knicks are the Toronto Leafs of basketball. They can fucking ball out, do all these great 3-pointers, everything goes right for them, but the moment they are needed the most, they're like the Avatar, they vanish.
They every time.
When the world needed them most, they vanished. And I think the Knicks, I can't trust them. It's the same way I can't trust the Leafs. I don't care who the Leafs get. I don't care who they sign. I don't care what coach they get. It's the Leafs. you will always nuke it. So it's the same thing with the Knicks. You will always shit the bed when the time is right. The only real team in the East I can possibly see being of any good, and I know like it's going to sound crazy because their best player went down, I could still see theoretically Boston putting their shit back together.
Yes. I'm in full agreement with you. Thank you.
Yeah, they're going to have like a few holes in the team, but like the East is like a nothing burger right now.
Yeah.
It really is, because Cleveland proved that they're not really a good team.
Yeah,
No.
Cavaliers got fucking exposed.
Yes, they did.
The Knicks I don't trust. Magic had something going, but then they went. Did you say 5 first picks for Desmond Bane? I can't get over it.
I know.
Trust the process down there too, Tyler.
Oh fuck you.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else in the East?
It is slim.
We have Brooklyn, the Knicks, Sixers, the Raptors.
The Raptors. I have a soft spot for the Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to make any noise next year, but
Yeah.
they're like the little engine that could.
Yeah.
And also, like, as the Dino nerd, I can't help but go, you guys are cool.
You went to
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say with Milwaukee, we're gonna be questionable, right?
Yeah,
Milwaukee's up in the air until we know what happens with Giannis.
yeah.
The Hawks, we got they're not gonna do much.
The Pelicans exist. That's they exist. That's all I can say is the New Orleans Pelicans exist.
The Heat are done, right? The Heat are cooked.
They're done. Yeah,
The Miami Heat's done.
they're not gonna do anything. Yeah. Brooklyn Nets.
Depends on what they do with the draft coming up.
I think that's gonna I think Matt's right. I think Brooklyn depends on how well they draft this year.
Other than that, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
the East is.
Boston.
We gotta go right back to the same. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Even without
the same.
yeah. I think really it doesn't matter who in the East, even if you ball out in the East, it doesn't matter. You're just gonna get steamrolled by the West. It's the same thing of like what's going on in the NFL, where it doesn't aside from maybe the Eagles and 2 and 3 other teams, the AFC, it's the AFC that just dominates, just has a more dominant force. And I know what you're going to say, but the Eagles, though, really, who else other than the Eagles?
There is no other team other than the Eagles.
Yeah, like you could maybe say Commanders are coming up. I'm sorry, I just made you both vomit in your mouths. You could maybe say the Lions, but I'm starting to lose faith there. You could
The
make
Lions are like in that Knicks category.
yeah, the Lions are like the Knicks. The Tampa Bay but they're getting older. The only threats you have, like the Eagles have, are the Commanders and the Rams.
Yeah, I think you're correct about that.
I agree with you.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry. We're getting back on point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That happens, Donna.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah, who do you like in the West, Briggs?
That's another hard one.
Isn't Chicago in the West? I forget.
No, he's there in the East.
Okay, never mind.
In the West, we have Denver, Timberwolves, Minnesota, the Thunder. We have Portland and Utah.
The Timberwolves could be interesting.
The Timberwolves, that's one I forgot about till you brought it up. I was like, holy crap, they did a whole run and I forgot about them. But the Timberwolves actually might be the sleeper agent for next year.
Yeah, I could go with the Timberwolves. Trailblazers, no. Utah, no. Yeah, I would say Denver and Timberwolves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
one thing I'm not hearing a lot of is, again, bigger markets like LA, Golden State. The NBA has really got to get some of these other teams some national exposure. even Briggs, like I know you're a big NBA fan too. Like how often did you get to see any of the outside the Knicks, any of the other three teams that made it to the Final Four this year? Because it's just like never on.
Exactly. They're never on. And that's why I think, like I said early on, I finally caught a Pacers game. And that's when I was like, hey, I'm kind of liking the Pacers. But I couldn't tell you. I don't know every player. You know, certain teams I know pretty much the starting five, maybe the six man. Those teams I couldn't even, I had to look up their name. I mean, like literally I had to like look into it. So just because I'm not watching, and I watch pretty much every game that comes on, you know, without the league pass or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these teams I never see. Even like Pelicans, like we just said, Zion. He was such a big name, but I didn't see too many of his games. You know what I mean? Like it's the exposure is not the exposure.
Yeah. You and I, whenever we talk about games outside of the local market, we'll come in and be like, did you see Denver? Did you see LA? Did you see Boston? Like, you know, it's certainly the NBA has chosen certain teams to focus on. And
can I ask, why do you think that? Why? I mean, I'm just oblivious to this. Why is that, though?
So, I think it's for a couple reasons. I think one of them is shooting him in the foot. We know for a fact that the NBA does better in terms of ratings when LA does good. I mean, like, come on, that whole Luka trade.
Yeah.
It's very shady. So they focus on the bigger markets, but I think what's happened is you've seen smaller market teams, for the most part, excluding this year, get better draft picks and draft smarter. But the NBA, like Tyler's been indicating, has really been hesitant to focus on really good teams. They like superstars. They haven't focused on good teams. Like, the two teams we saw here, like you said, two breaks. Again, I keep like crapping on SGA because he is the MVP. But you're looking at two very good teams, and in the NBA, when they look for ratings, they for the longest time have promoted superstars.
Yeah.
And they don't really have that right now.
And and the thing of it is, it's not new. Like this has been going on since like you could point like them glorifying superstars all the way back to the 70s. And that's kind of now shot them in the foot because these people get old. Like, that's the problem. And that's, like, one of the things I give and the NHL is guilty of this, too, where they will really prop up other play, like, a single player in each one, like Brand Marchand for the Panthers, and other things like that. The only, like, it's not like the NFL where you have a whole 52 roster where you can just point to and say everyone has a potential to be like a goddamn like marketable person. It's because it's just how teams are built. Like that's the problem with like the game itself is that NBA and NHL, and you can even say soccer too on this, is that it's like one guy, everyone else.
Yeah, the NBA in particular lends itself to this because, and I'll go like the two reasons why. First, I know the formula works. Briggs, I'm sure you can remember, like when we were kids, it was Magic versus Bird, right? And then you transitioned to Jordan, and then went to like Kobe, and then it was like LeBron. The other thing about the NBA, and this is why I think one of the reasons that they do push superstars so much is, as opposed to like the NFL, is in the NBA you can see the players' faces. Like in the other three major sports, you can't really
even make it out. Right.
So it lends itself well to posters and T-shirts and whatever else.
Yeah, I will say that like, I mean, I think the NBA peaked in the '90s. I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Like I'm not like I think that's kind of like it's not even a hot take. It's just that's just fact. It just peaked at the '90s, and we never got away from the formula of propping up one or two players in each team.
Right. Yeah, I don't see a lot of SGA jerseys flying off the shelves now. You know what I mean? I don't
exactly. Right.
It's who's gonna do that? Like, I don't know. This was not a good year for the NBA Finals.
And to which I say, fuck them. Not the teams, but like the ESPN, the whole NBA organization. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you. I'll be honest. And Briggs, I watch a lot of basketball. I couldn't even have told you SGA's full name until these finals.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. That's why I said they're not even household names. If you go around and ask, who plays on OKC or who plays on Indiana, it's not like the Indiana where it used to be the Reggie Millers, and it's not the same anymore. And it's not household names. I don't even see those jerseys. You know how, the Eagles, when they was doing their playoff, whatever, the jerseys, they couldn't get them off the the screen printer quick enough. Now, no one's going out supporting any of these teams because they made it to the NBA. Again, SGA.
Yeah.
You walk around, who's SGA?
It reminds me a lot of the lack of performance when not. You guys remember before the Yankees-Dodgers baseball final, like the World Series there?
The World Series.
What was the? Can you tell me the two teams it was the year before? Before Yankees-Dodgers.
I'll be honest, I couldn't.
It was the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. Yeah.
I think what the NBA needs to do is start focusing on the name on the front of the jersey as opposed to the back.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. But why I brought that up was because it feels a lot like that Rangers Diamondback World Series felt like I felt a lot of that here, where the MLB consistently cucked those two teams during the World Series, and we had some decent ball here. I mean, it's very rare we've gone to 7 games in the NBA Finals, because usually it's just the one team teabagging the one who got lucky to get in here.
And it was good team balls, good defense. It was more, aside from the sloppiness, like Briggs had said, more reminiscent of college ball, which I really enjoy, right, Briggs?
Yeah, this was worse than college ball. I mean, I respect college ball tremendously. I actually like college ball better than NBA at the current state of NBA. But like I said, this was at best a good high school game. I mean, at best. Yeah. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Briggs, do you have to go? You got something going on?
Yeah, the contractor just showed up.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. Keep me in mind any other time. I love it. I could talk boxing and basketball, but I would love to do football as well at one point. But
if you would like, Donna, I think one of the videos we're going to do next is our top 10 ranking for the 10 strongest teams in the NFL this year, of who we think are the 10 strongest teams in the NFL this year. If you'd like to be part of that, you're more than welcome.
Yes, absolutely. I would love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Briggs.
All right. Bye.
All right. That was Donna, everyone. So, it's kind of funny. We talked about the state of the NBA more than the actual finals itself.
Well, it's indicative of how the NBA has marketed itself, because they haven't given us the opportunity. I'll keep circling back to the fact that neither of those two teams, that are both obviously very good teams, got a whole lot of play on national games. So, I'm a Sixers fan, which means I don't watch a lot of basketball here in Philadelphia, but I do like watching national games. But I don't get to see those teams a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I imagine if you were a fan of the Supersonics, you're probably punching a hole in your wall.
Yeah, I'm sure. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes with teams that move. But fun to switch sports for the first time. Love to do boxing and football. You interested in doing any MMA? A lot of news went down this weekend in MMA.
Yeah, I've kind of dropped off of MMA for reasons.
Fair enough.
I just feel like the sport's kind of tainted.
No, you're not wrong at all.
Yeah.
You're not wrong at all.
But boxing I'd be down for. I still want to do NFL when we get close to the NFL stuff. I do want to do that top 10 power ranking.
Yeah, we could do some baseballs. We get past the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so you guys tell us in the comments below if you watch the NBA finals. Let us know in the comments below. Also, this whole time we were talking, I don't want to take anything away from the Thunder. They did everything right.
great team. Like I think we all three kept saying, a very good team. I fully expect them to be contenders for the next 4 years.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, just comment below, let us know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.